Hello, everybody. Welcome back to, well, something a little bit different. I don't normally cover dev streams, but as we are getting towards gold in 7 Days to Die, not we, they are getting towards gold in 7 Days to Die, it's kind of getting more and more interesting to watch the development streams and take apart the stuff that they say, the stuff that they don't say, the stuff that they hint at, and some of the things that are just in the background that really don't get pointed out. There are a lot of content creators covering everything to do with 7 Days to Die dev streams and doing great synopsis. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to scan through my edited down version of this. It's like an hour and 16 that I edited it down to. But I'm going to find a couple of still spots in there where there were interesting little things that I noticed in the background, things that they said, things that they did, and talk about those and maybe do a bit of guessing, some tinfoil hat guessing, and then making remarks on some of the things that they talk about as far as the new alpha, some of the new systems and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Okay, right here they're actually looking at Rex new building, even though Rex just got a facelift on his build. Apparently they've gone through and given Rex an even better facelift, and he is going to be responsible for feed, seeds, having everything to do with the farming aspect of this particular thing, plus the entire compound that they made is absolutely gorgeous. The one thing that I really wanted to talk about was this over here. Let me see if I can actually show it.
Yeah, look at that concert.
Right here. Now, I'm going to show it. I don't know how the audio is going to sound whenever I do this. I might have to put over some audio. But basically, there's a helicopter pad in all of the new trader areas. Pretty cool. But next to every single one of them, can you see it right behind me? Hang on. Right behind me, you can kind of see that there's a ham radio. Now, something I noticed whenever they go to some of the other areas, there's a ham radio next to every single one of the helicopter pads. Now, they don't say anything about it. There is, who did I see it on? It was GNS, Guns, Nerds, and Steel. If you haven't gone out and watched his videos or subscribed to him or whatever, he does great content, absolutely great content, absolutely magnificent editing. But that aside, inside one of his, Rebirth series, he brings in a helicopter that Rebirth opens for you to be able to buy, but the helicopter is in the base game. It's just not where you can use it in the base game, for reasons unknown. And the Fun Pimps have told us we're not getting any new vehicles, at least not this alpha. But there's a helicopter here. There's ham radios here. What's the point in having a helicopter that we can't use, a ham radio next to every single one of the helipads that are inside each one of the trader areas? And it got me thinking. There's a couple of options. One, it means absolutely nothing and it's just decoration. Entirely possible. Two, they were listening to the community when the community said, I wish I could order product. Like if there's a particular book that I'm looking for and I want to play twice as much as what it's actually worth and order that thing in, this is their immersive way of making it where you could order things. I kind of don't feel like it's that, just because I'm not sure that that kind of code could be made into the game. It might be. Who knows? And third, which is the biggest tinfoil hat theory that I have, is kind of like Age of Oblivion that has teleporters. There are people who have made mods for teleporters for 7 days. Maybe this is a way to teleport from one trader to another trader immersively. It's a thought, and the reason that it popped in my head is because of this.
Tina wire. So they're bigger. As you can see, there's a teleport, or I mean a helipad that has an Alpha 20.
And you see Lathan's face? He's like, come on, dude, don't give away all the hints. Or it's like, dude, come on. All right, so there was that. Those were the ideas that I had. All through here, they also show several things that they have done. Like there's a tractor back here. It looks like they've done a whole lot as far as this little piece right here that I see attached to this piping. I don't recall seeing some of those. Let's see. Of course, we got Trader Wrecked, and they start talking about some of the decorations. Wait. Where was that? Yeah, we've got like the horseshoes here. We've got some posters here. Looks pretty badass. Sadly, Wrecked has still got the same personality. Apparently, that personality is because of somebody they actually know in person. I'm sorry, this has been done to you. Why did you have to do it to everybody else? But okay, everybody has one of those type of people in their lives. That's fine.
Used to tell stories about Sparky.
A real life character. It's just like that guy.
Sparky. Also, they show a propane tank. These are not blocks. that are built into looking like a propane tank, which is what we used to see on the POIs. This is a legit POI, full-on propane tank. What they don't cover is whether or not you could shoot that and it explodes. And as a pyro, I kind of have to know, does it explode? I mean, obviously the trader's got trader, coverage on the area. You're not going to be able to destroy anything, but behind several of the buildings, these probably are going to show up in the place of the block propane tanks. So is there a chance you could actually set fire? Well, not set fire, because the fire spreading mod really doesn't make it into the base game, which is kind of cool, kind of not. But I just wonder if it explodes, which would be pretty interesting to find out. And here, let me see if I can rewind it just a bit so you can see both of them. This is a broken down workbench. This is a broken down forge, and each one of them have got completely new models, and they look different whenever they're fixed or they're broken or whatever. And there's a chance with not this alpha, but next alpha, they're talking about having it to where you'll be able to see when you add in stuff to your forge. Like whenever you add the bellows in, it'll actually visually show up. But right now, as of the way it is now, it is a static form. This is what it's going to look like. So there is that. Level editor, 5,000 doors, and the ability to shoot through 5,000 different doors. I'm very interested, though, about what all of these are. Are these placeholders for other doors they're in the process of doing? Because they never talk about that. They just kind of glance over it. This is like, there's nothing here. They've got 5,000 doors, and now it's going to be where if you damage the door, a hole opens up, and you can actually shoot through that. You can hit through that. They didn't exactly cover whether or not the zombies could hit through it, but given the fact that zombies can get through a smaller gap than we can, I would assume a zombie can hit through it, since they can hit through blocks, and that there's a possibility they might be able to climb through it. Though, so far, I haven't seen anything, though I haven't watched the art weekend thing. I haven't seen that one, so that should be interesting. Oh yeah, they've got these vault doors which look very, very clean, and they also have elevator doors, and then this right here, which looks very Fallout-ish, should be interesting. Okay, and then we're gonna go to, here is a new prison. Finally, we have a new prison. Okay, and this is probably the best time to talk about up here in the top right. Obviously, this is not going to be the best resolution. I don't normally do these, like I said, so I probably need to do a bit more research before doing another one of these. But if you look in the top right-hand corner right here, it gives you the level difficulty of the POI itself. Speaking of which, we now have level 6 POIs instead of just up to level 5. No idea what that end of loot box is going to look like. I'd assume a whole lot cooler. But this is going to tell you what level it is. And then this over here, this yellow one's over here, it's going to tell you how difficult it is according to the terrain that you're in, the biome that you're in. If you're in the pine forest, it's pretty easy. There's not going to be a skull there. If you go over to the wasteland, you're going to have all of the skulls there telling you that this is basically, if you've got 6 skulls, well, 6 dots, and all of the skulls, then it's pretty dangerous. Make sure you're careful. And apparently, they have fixed the... It was where whenever you hit the button to do a mission, I'm trying to find a non-blurry section to look at, hang on, there we go. Whenever you hit the button to do a mission, if you're doing multiplayer, it should now calculate the yield of zombies according to the difficulty of the amount of people you have in your team. Whenever you did a horde night, it would calculate how many people are in your area that are doing horde with you, and it will calculate that out for the type of zombies you get during a horde, but it was not doing that for the POIs. I kind of thought it was, but apparently it wasn't. So that part's fixed. We have tier 6 POIs for missions, and we are going to have a new mission type, which is Infestation, which is basically the exact same mission, except there's going to be twice as much zombies. They're supposed to move faster and be harder to kill. So there's that. Yeah, this is the Infestation. As you can see, he's getting wrecked, but there's a lot of zombies in there. Anyway, this is Bob's. There's a whole lot new, like, signage for him and everything. I really like this one. It's actually made up of pieces and stuff. It's really, really cool. There, you can see it a little bit better. I do apologize about the blurriness. And Bob, it kind of looks like they fixed his eyes before. He kind of had... His eyes were just wrong. I don't know what it was about Bob's eyes that were kind of messed up, but those are finally fixed. Also, you can see in the background there's some new artwork. Like, there's a bird here. There's a neighborhood watch sign over here. I don't recall seeing that one. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I don't remember seeing that one. I don't think this one was either, being subject to search right here. So that's kind of new. Also, this right here, this press this to punch grass to harvest plant fibers, this is absolutely new. For anybody who's tried to start playing this game and not knowing what any of your buttons were and having to figure all that stuff out, this is extremely helpful for new players. I do appreciate that. I really, really do. Oh, and new vending machines. Looks pretty cool. I'm kind of wondering if we can get a close-up of what each one of these candies are. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be like supporters or artists or whatever. Each one of the traders having their specialty is fully going to be formed inside this particular alpha. Each one of the traders is going to have what they specialize in, and you're going to have to get your trader level, because now there's going to be a trader level. The more jobs you do and the more difficult the jobs you do and the longer you do jobs for them, the more they're going to like you and the more they're going to offer you things that you like. And does he actually show it? He's actually showing the infestation right here. We still have our restore powers. Now he's actually doing a test right here and showing one of the new POIs and some of the new art. See, when you first walk in, you get this pop-up telling you how difficult the particular POI is that you walked in. I'm hoping at some point they're going to make this... Here, let me do this instead of pointing at my screen because you guys can't see that part. This grayed out part right here gets taken off. This is really unnecessary. It blocks out more of the screen than it needs to. Some low-key stuff, making this part transparent and maybe this part transparent would be awesome. Streamline it. Because I'll admit, this looks like MS Paint. So probably not the best thing to do. What else was I saying? The trader loot, the level of loot, and the secret stash is gone. So in order for you to get the secret stash, you're going to have to do missions for a trader to the point to where that they like you, and then they'll slowly start mixing in better and better things into their inventory rather than having a secret stash. So there's not going to be any getting like a tier 5 AK on day 2. You have to actually do missions and make the traders like you before they're going to give you the good stuff, which is really, really cool. Also, right here, let me show it right quick.
You know, basically kind of like CDC kind of style.
The container disappeared. So instead of walking around, say, searching all the trash, searching the bird nest and everything else like that, and you go back and search it 500 more times, it just gets rid of itself, which is both really good and bad for people on servers. But as they gave us the ability to make it where your servers chunk resets happen every so many days or whatever, it's going to start off and you get a chunk reset, which is going to be really good for server life. But as far as your personal stuff, if you allow things to reset, I think you're probably going to have to use the chunk reset as well. Otherwise, those containers that bust may not come back. Containers that don't bust will probably still be there. They just won't, you know, get more of. Now, the end of the loot stuff and the big boxes or whatever, they stay there, which is nice. Here he's showing the new crafting system by... I guess you say craft by looting, craft by learning, craft by however you want to say it to make yourself feel better. Basically, you're going to have to loot in order to craft better items. If you are a builder, it could be kind of an issue, but you could be able to What did I just say? If you are in a server and you're a builder, there's a chance that you are going to be behind the curve on the stage of things that you can build. People will be able to bring stuff to you, but you're not going to find the specific items you're looking for unless you're also out looting yourself. So I would say if you're in a server and there's a builder, I would say possibly hand off building to somebody like every other Horde Night or something like that to allow the builder to go out and loot as well. Otherwise, they're going to be incredibly behind. Now, true, if you have a looter, they're using the same types of tools, they want to use the same types of weapons. One can go out looting, finding all of the books and bring it back and just not read the final book or whatever in that series, so they can continue to get that accelerated amount of stuff and things you get from learning, because if you spec into shotguns, you're going to find more shotgun parts, you're going to find more shotgun magazines, that kind of thing. If you and your buddy are both learning shotgun stuff, and the buddy that is out looting doesn't read the final book, they'll still continue to get that increased loot stage for the shotgun items that you can then pass off to the other person who is also doing shotguns, but is not able to go loot. That's the only tip I can think of for that particular problem. Also, what they talk about, and I'm probably just going to skip it because they show it for a while they talk about other things. You have to read a certain amount of magazines. It shows you here how many of each type of magazine you can read to complete the whole series. And it tells you if once you get to 10 to 11, that you'll be able to go to the iron tools. 10 of 27, you'll be able to get to the steel tools. 10 of 60, meaning you have to read 60 books in order to do the mechanical tools. Now, after you open up that section, you have the ability to make a different level, because if these little icons right here say you want to make a steel tool item, but you don't have enough parts, you can't make a tier 5, but a tier 4 will get you by. You can make a tier 4 because you have that many parts. If anybody watched my, what series? It was the Dishong series. It was in my challenges. I had an issue where I wanted a wrench. So in order for me to make a wrench, I went ahead and took the perk point in. But because I took the perk point, it put me on level 2 wrenches. And then suddenly I didn't have the stuff I needed in order to make the tier 1 because I had to make a tier 2 and I didn't have enough items to make the tier 2. Now you'll be able to tell the game, I don't need the tier 2, I just need the tier 1, and you'll be able to make it, which is pretty freaking sweet. Seems to me like they were actually listening on some of the stuff and things people have been complaining about. See, this is where he's showing you can go back and forth on what levels. Here he's showing a whole lot of different POIs, what they look like, some stuff and things that happened. Apparently there is, let me get to it. Yeah, he went over here. Right here, this particular POI, they are doing a huge job in being able to storytell via set pieces in world. It's going to be very interesting to see Navezgane at the very end of this, which is basically the map that they are making the world into. Now you can do random maps, but Navezgane I think is the quintessential map that everything is kind of, the story is going to exist on. At least I think that's how it's going to be. Don't quote me on that. But this set piece is basically like all of these cars wound up here whenever whatever event happened in this particular location first. They lined up here trying to get gas, and then they just kind of got stuck there because they ran out of gas. Or they were waiting on delivery, or the zombie outbreak actually stopped everybody from being here. But basically these set pieces telling the story of what exactly happened, like we're seeing body bags, which means there was a concerted effort to try and get rid of the bodies after the infection started. Otherwise, these guys probably wouldn't exist in here, meaning some people, a good many people, enough to mount some sort of response, maybe, to this outbreak, were in the process of attempting to do something to stop it. Like these guys getting rid of bodies, they were probably taking them to burn somewhere or something like that. It's got hazard signs on here, which means that they knew they shouldn't interact with a body, so that's part of the story. The fact that there are half people in there, that's a bit of a story too. And also, if you see inside this one where this gas station was, everybody pulled in to try and get gas to probably bug out to their new location, and they sat there long enough to where people actually started making a little camp waiting for people to move because of reasons. So this is very, very lovely. I absolutely adore that. There's also more set pieces. They're in-world set pieces, like a checkpoint here. They got vehicles. Now, there was one thing that it showed that they kind of glossed over intentionally. They may answer this in another one, but...
Yeah, you can skip that for now.
They said skip that for now.
Checkpoint, that's just a part 2. That's not really part of any POI.
That's a tier 4.
Right?
It's in the middle of the road. Yeah, that's a chance to spawn.
That's super cool. I love
Those new
that.
tents back there,
Chance to
those look
spawn.
really, really
Yeah.
cool. Let me point with my finger so you guys can see what I'm pointing at.
You want me to skip the cop car?
Skip the cop car.
Oh, yeah, you can skip that for now.
Skip the cop car. So what was going on with the cop car that he kind of wanted to talk about, but he didn't talk about?
Door sometimes after you played a little.
Use the police car. Use it. It's locked. Use the police car. What does this mean? What does this mean? Guys, what does this mean? Does that mean we can actually fix it or something later on? Because there's a lot of mods that allow you to fix vehicles in world.
Location.
He just kind of glanced over it and they're like, yeah, let's not talk about that just yet. Let's not talk about that. Yeah, okay. Okay, and also in here, they were talking about more of the new skill tree, the new way you do loot and everything else like that. But here they're basically showing off that one of the biggest things that people had a pet peeve about with the skill system the way that it was is in order for you to play any other class, if you wanted to go into agility and become a ninja of the dark and hit people with bows and arrows and knives and the whole 9 yards, you still had to spec into a different tree to, in fact, intellect and strength, because there were so many things in those that you had to have in order for you to do a normal playthrough. Mostly strength. And the reason being is because no matter what kind of melee weapon you opt to have whenever you run out of ammo, you need the ability to be able to hit without losing all of your stamina. Hence, Sexy T-Rex. That was the name of the perk that allowed you to do that. Now, they have taken it to where each one of the skill trees, each one of these little guys right here, is going to have their own version of Sexy T-Rex. So if you use knives or machetes or whatever, it will have its own Sexy T-Rex kind of built into it. You see the stamina reduction by a certain amount, which is basically what it did. But, and in the same vein, that you might put perk points into this to reduce your stamina. If, say, you put it into Pummel Pete and you're using your clubs or whatever, you're just fine. Now, if you swap over weapons because yours got damaged or you just decide to change over weapons, the points in this are not going to help you with your stamina in your brand new knife. It's just not. You have to put perk points into that, so it's a double-edged sword. If you spec into something, you're basically married into that one unless you take a Forgetting Elixir and try again. Which is kind of good because it does allow you to fully spec into a class and see the strength of that class, as opposed to having to, I don't know, mush it all up between all of these things you really didn't want, but you absolutely had to put so many points into strength just to get the Sexy T-Rex perk. Now you don't have to, and that's pretty freaking sweet. And then we talk about the dew collector. We're not going to be able to find water in our drinks anymore, and we can't find jars. We can't make jars. We're going to have to use a dew collector or find murky water out in the world. And we probably won't be able to find it inside the toilets, I don't think, from the way they were talking. We'll have to do the dew collectors, and we'll be able to boil water inside jars, but after we drink it, the jar is gone. Meaning water is suddenly not a guarantee. You'll be able to buy it. You'll be able to get it from the vending machines. Of course, they kind of glossed over and did not even talking about the in-game changes to the vending machines, the increase in price. I'm wondering if they're going to cover that some other time. We'll see. But basically, if you buy drinks and stuff from the vending machine, it's going to be the same cost as the traders. Now, the difference is you can perk into and get discounts at the traders eventually, but you cannot get discounts at the vending machine. Whereas before, you could go to the vending machine and it was almost half the cost. Now they're going to be the same cost. So early game is going to be a whole lot more difficult, though I have a feeling it will probably make the mid-game stretch out as you try to work towards efficiency of food and water and surviving. I think this could be a really good thing. We'll see. Oh, this one. They kind of glanced over this one, but they were like, we didn't see it.
Shooting fire out the top. What's that? Nothing.
What's that? Nothing. Apparently there are brand new fire traps that are in different locations. It looks like that particular one is a fire trap on the roof. I'm wondering exactly what it's going to cause, what's going to happen. If these are going to be environmentals that show up in a lot of different areas and whether or not it's going to affect the FPS. According to them, they have gotten a team on the whole fixing optimization for the game. The zombies are not going to draw as much memory trying to path and things like that. We'll see how it goes. And the changes to the spear, they do showcase that one basically. Instead of launching the spear, you'll now do a more powerful thrust with the spear. I kind of liked it both ways because it gave you something that you could actually throw and eventually get back. But at the same time, if you got a tier 6 steel spear and you've got all of your mods into it and that suddenly just gets lost in the world, I would be upset, so that's one of the reasons why I didn't run spears. I wouldn't want to lose something that I did all that work to just to have it thrown and it's gone. What's with the purple right here? Why is that? What's going on here? And here they're talking about the new changes to the vehicles. The vehicles are going to be able to... They didn't actually show how much damage the vehicle did against a zombie, which was kind of disappointing. You actually take damage to your vehicle easily, and one repair kit will not necessarily fix your vehicle unless you put points into the vehicle specs and everything else like that, in which case you will gain more fixing per kit that you have. But the reason they did this is because we're supposed to be able to run over zombies now, and that's supposed to balance it, but they didn't actually show how much damage the vehicle does to the zombies. I was really looking forward to that. For anybody who's watching me play, you know, I like annihilating the zombies with a vehicle. Here they're showing the fire trap.
So cool.
Here.
And so
I'll go ahead and take some damage for you, just so you can. Oh,
crouch.
oh,
so
oh,
so the way through is to crouch through there, and it's
And the fire lasts for a minute afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Environmental hazards and puzzle solving, basically. But what was really interesting was is somehow or another they made it to where it slowed him down trying to get through that container. I am wondering exactly if it was because it's a block and a half and it slowed him down, or if it's because there's a different type of block that has like a slowdown aspect. I'm kind of interested to see exactly how that works. We will soon. Oh, and here they're talking about the new water physics. How it will flow from one block into another block.
that type of stuff is now possible, and
So for those of you who are using these things and trying to build underneath and stuff like that to, you know, because the water doesn't flow anywhere, now the water is going to flow. It's not going to do like a big waterfall or anything else like that, but at least the water is going to be a bit more like water instead of molasses for the characters, which will be very, very interesting. I do like this little set piece. They don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's like a little dock that goes out into the lake. I really, really like that. All right, and during the questions, I really didn't see anything that was
Yeah,
hugely interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for this particular one. I've kind of wrapped up 2 hours, basically, of conversation down into about 30 minutes with a couple of tidbits here and there of stuff and things that I had questions about, what was going on with certain things, but I'm pretty sure more and more things are going to be answered the further we get into the dev streams, and of course, they're not going to give us all of the answers until we actually get our hands on it, because they're not going to want to spoil anything. But I will see you guys next time. We're going to be going through all of the new artwork that's coming to the next one. I will see you then. You have a wonderful day, wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye.